There's no doubt that introverted and extroverted individuals weren't cut from the same cloth. If you're an introvert yourself, you'll notice we live in an extroverted world that favours the outgoing social nature of extroverted individuals. Yet, from an introverted perspective, most of these ever so favoured extrovert traits are just annoying. Welcome back, Psychos. Today we'll be talking about 10 extroverted behaviours that annoy introverts. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, as well as click the notification bell so that you never miss a video. Number 1. Invading personal space. Extroverts don't mind showing their affection through touching or invading the personal space of others. For them, this type of closeness allows them to build a stronger bond with another person. However, if that other person is an introvert, you can be sure they don't feel the same way. Lack of personal space for an introvert, especially in a public setting, can push an introvert over the edge of feeling extremely uncomfortable. For example, even something as simple as pulling up a chair beside a stranger who's eating alone. Extroverts would love to get to know the person sitting alone and may strike up a conversation, when in reality the stranger is an introvert who chose the seat further away from socializing with anyone. In other words, social distancing is a blessing in disguise for the introverts of the world. Number 2. Intense eye contact. Eye contact and introverts never really did go hand in hand. Although it's not true for every type of introvert, for many of them, prolonged eye contact can just become too much. Extroverts, on the other hand, use eye contact as a means of respectfully showing that they are attentive and listening, and usually expect the same eye contact in return. This is all even worse for the introvert if the person making the eye contact is high energy or has authority. But why do introverts avoid eye contact so much? Well, due to their tendency to observe everything around them, introverts are usually bombarded by the minute detail of every conversation. That eye contact on top of everything that they're intaking just becomes too much to process and concentrate on. Number 3. Gossip. Compared to introverts, most extroverts are considered to be open books, willing to talk about anything and everything. Meanwhile, introverts are generally more private about their personal matters and may feel overly self-conscious should they be asked about a personal matter. So, when the main topic of conversation is made up about gossiping about other people's private details, you can imagine how annoying and uncomfortable that can be for an introverted individual. Plus, introverts are usually quite picky about the topic of conversation if they are required to contribute, mostly leaning towards topics that have depth rather than chitter-chatter to pass the time. In the eyes of an introvert, gossiping and drama can be completely overrated. Number 4. Not allowing anyone else to get a word in. Speaking of contributing to a conversation, introverts actually have a voice. They just need the right environment to be welcome to use it. Introverts have passions, beliefs, and opinions that they are willing to share, but they won't interrupt or talk over people to get their word in. Instead, they'll wait for an appropriate time to share their piece. However, if there's an overly extroverted individual in the group, there's little to no chance that any introverted individual is going to get a word in, and that just annoys them, rightfully so. Extroverts tend to take over the show and are usually less likely to sit and listen to anyone's personal point of view, although introverts are great listeners. They also have boundaries of what it is they spend their time listening to, so if someone is sharing every little thought in their mind without giving anyone else a chance to speak, they probably won't last long. Number 5. Feeling suspicious when someone isn't extroverted. Extroverts have been painted in a light of being the optimal personality for the world we're living in. It's widely believed that if you can be sociable, easily approachable, confident and loud, you have better chances of getting what you want in life. With this false pretext, extroverts tend to think that everyone else should try their best to be the most extroverted as possible. Therefore, when they see an introverted individual being their introverted selves, extroverts may automatically think something is wrong. They may even go as far as to give you some advice on how to be your most extroverted self. Number 6. Filling silence with small talk. Small talk is an introvert's kryptonite. In other words, if you're interrupting an introvert's quiet and observing nature to have a conversation, you better come equipped with an interesting topic, because small talk just won't cut it. Feeling the need to fill gaps of silence with things that don't really matter while avoiding any conversations about things that do matter is an extroverted logic that introverts just can't seem to wrap their head around. Plus, small talk ties into less introverted pet peeves of people who only listen to replies, which is much easier to do when the topic is somewhat meaningless. Less listening skills are required when you're only there to be listened to. Number 7. Spontaneous socializing. Unexpected socializing in any sort may throw an introverted personality for a loop. Introverts actually require some time to mentally prepare for a social interaction, even something as simple as an unexpected phone call. This is because introverts know that they don't properly organize their social lives. They can quickly deplete their social battery, making them irritable and unlike themselves. Introverts have plans. Even if their plan was to stay at home and read a book over the weekend, they didn't choose to do that because they have nothing better to do. They genuinely enjoy time to themselves. This is something that extroverts feel they need to save introverts from. Although being pushed outside of their comfort zones can be really healthy for an introvert, the spontaneity should be left out. Number 8. Loud talking. Let's just say it, an introvert growing up in an Italian family could be faced with a few challenges. When loud is the default setting for an introvert's home, workplace or learning facility, it's no doubt that they'll eventually become annoyed. Introverts prefer quiet to match the slow-paced, mellow nature of what's going on inside their heads. Much like the avoidance of intense eye contact, introverts are constantly observing everything around them. So loud noises and talking can easily have an introvert becoming overstimulated. Meanwhile, extroverts actually thrive on excess stimulation, which is why they are drawn to socializing and gathering. Number 9. Interrupting from focus. Okay, let's be real. Nobody really likes to be interrupted, but why is it such a pet peeve for introverts? Well, for one, when introverts are focusing, they need to focus deeply, and once interrupted, it can take twice as long for an introvert to regain the focus they had. Secondly, introverts have a little more social common sense than they're given credit for, meaning they have observed and understand at what times people prefer to be bugged with an issue and when they're too busy to help. Extroverts often miss this memo and don't see a problem in politely interrupting someone's work to ask for a solution. Not to mention, introverts require a little more time to think of an answer because they rely more on long-term memory, while extroverts rely on working memory. So, being bugged for a simple solution wouldn't distract them as it would an introvert. And number 10, inability to be alone. Most introverts are individualists, meaning they not only don't have a problem with doing things on their own, they actually prefer it. Introverts would never think of inviting someone along to things like running errands, going to the gym, or cooking a meal. They're lovers of solitude and don't require others to entertain them. Extroverts, however, enjoy the constant energy of having someone else around them and would much prefer if a friend tagged along, no matter the situation. Introverts don't necessarily get annoyed by this extroverted behaviour unless they're the friend that's being dragged along. Well, that's it for today, Psychos. So, if you're an introvert, do these extroverted behaviours annoy you? Let us know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to leave us a like, share this video with your friends, and also subscribe to our channel for more Psycho videos.